And we're good to go. Hey everybody, welcome to Hairdresser Power. We have our guest today, Jamie Dana. Hi Jamie, how are you?
Good, how are you?
She's good. Now, she's over in the OC. I'm down here in Oceanside, so that's Orange County, and then we're in just the edge of San Diego County. But thanks for being here, and we're really excited because today we're gonna have a social media expert that has actually a system, has a plan here. Because some people, you know, we just shoot from the hip and hope we get some followers, but you actually got a system. You're going to talk about how to take pictures, how to post, hashtags. So you guys, this is a great one. I am really excited about this today. So how's it going in the OC today up in the Orange County? How's it going?
It's great. I'm doing really good. Today is a work from home day for me. So I'm in the salon 3 days a week, and then I work from home a couple days a week as well. So this is my office that you guys can see behind me, my home office.
Great, yeah.
So a little behind the scenes of what goes on at my Jamie Dana Inc.
Jamie Dana Inc., man, you're working it. You're working it. You're living the dream. So, you know, one of the things I wanted to talk about is, you know, obviously you're a hairdresser, okay? And you do hair, like you say, every week. You have your own studio. And so what's the name of your studio?
So I actually own it. I used to be in a Phoenix salon suite, and now I have my own like 600 square foot space. It's just for me and my assistant, and it's called Pin and Plate Studio. So
nice.
pin like bobby pin. I actually have a bobby pin tattoo.
Oh, I like it.
And then plate, what like British people call braids. So yeah,
Got you.
Pin and Plate Studio. It's really fun. We love having a small space, and the cool thing is we kind of designed it in the way so that I can film in there and do model things and just have fun and not have to worry about you know, other stuff in the background and stuff like that. So I love it. It's been a great space for me, and yeah, it's been great.
And so what do you specialize in? Do you have a specialty? Do you specialize in color? Do you specialize in updos? What do you do?
So I specialize in like lived-in balayage. Balayage and blondes is like my main forte, but I mean, I do a lot of things, but only women's hair. I don't really take any men's clients anymore or children's haircuts anymore.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely color is like what I love to do, and that's what I am super passionate about. So yeah, balayage and all the blondes are my faves.
Oh, good. Yeah, I love it. So now we have some pictures today, and this will create conversations. Obviously, we're going to talk about what kind of camera you use and how you post and hashtags and all. So I just wanted people to get a little background on you, what your specialties are, and that you're really a hairdresser just like them. But you've gone to the next level. Now, did you have a computer background, or were you into it? Or tell us a little bit about how you got so heavily into social media.
So honestly, I wanted to go into education. And at the time, independent education was such a thing. Everyone was becoming a balayage educator or updo or braids, or everybody was teaching something. And I realized that no one was really targeting business, and nobody was teaching business or social media or marketing or branding. And that's something I really love and I'm really passionate about. And so I decided to really kind of take that and go into the whole social media space, specifically Instagram, because that's something that has completely changed our industry, as I'm sure you guys know.
Oh, yeah.
Instagram shaped the way that things are now. So yeah, I decided to kind of go into that in an independent way, but I actually teach online now. So I have an online course, and that's what I do. I don't go to salon. I feel like I can reach more people online. So that's what I specialize in, is online education for the hairstylist. And that's why I love things like this, is because you guys are getting education and getting resources out there to other hairstylists. So I love doing things like this. I think it's really cool.
That's great. You know, we're a channel neutral. It's about hairdresser power, empowering hairdressers with different techniques, different philosophies, different products. Totally channel neutral. Whatever you love, whatever you do, we want to share that with other people, because that's how we can progress, and that's how we can become better and take care of our clients better, right? Bottom line?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now, what was your inspiration initially? I mean, did you have any business background, or what happened? How did it happen for you? Why did
funny.
Why did you pick specifically social media? That's the question.
So I don't have a background in business. I'm very much self-taught. I didn't even go to college. I basically was homeschooled my entire life and graduated high school at 16. And not because I'm like a genius or anything like that, but it's just I was able to get my classes done a lot younger. So anyways, I graduated high school at 16, went to beauty school when I was 16, 17, and then from 17 on started working in a salon, and just kind of learning the ropes. I think that I'm kind of more naturally entrepreneurial. But yeah, I just self-taught and started learning it, and social media was just something that I really felt passionate about, and just started learning it. And I listened to so many podcasts and blogs and marketers and learning kind of the grand scheme of business marketing, not just Instagram or social media, but it
Right.
really ties around to kind of everything. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm self-taught to answer that question. I didn't
Wonderful.
go to college, but it's something that I really love, and I study it every day, day in and day out. I'm constantly listening to things and researching and just kind of taking my own experience. So yeah.
Well, okay, just from a one-shot wonder, like one word of advice. If there's a person that's starting out on Instagram, what is the one most important thing that they need to do to build a client? Just give me your big one. What's your biggest and most important, if you have one that you could do?
One, it's so hard. It's so hard because there's so much that goes into it. And I know that
Oh
it can
yeah.
feel so intimidating to so many hairstylists, but I have to say consistency. Consistency is
Okay,
so
good.
important. I know you guys have probably heard this one, but being consistent and just showing up, putting your content out there, putting your work out there, putting captions, writing amazing things, putting hashtags out there. And it's all about experimenting and figuring out what works for you. So there are certain ways that you can kind of hack it and make it go a little bit faster or learn things faster. But showing up every day, being consistent, and putting your work out there is just really important.
Okay, and then I know we have some pictures I want to get into now. Stephen, can you
Yeah.
put up the first one and we'll start talking about those. Okay, now this is your camera. This is important.
Yes.
This is, a lot of people just use their phone. Talk to me about your camera. I know it's a Canon. I know that you actually use a photographic camera. And tell
Mhm.
us all about that and what your feelings are on that.
Yeah, so I have used a camera for the last 2 years to take all of my hair photos. I used to use my phone back in the day, but I have actually a photography background, and so it was kind
Okay.
of something that I was like, I want to take my Instagram to the next level, and I feel like photography is where it's going. So I brought in the camera. It's that camera actually is specifically a Canon SL1.
Hmm.
It's a little white camera. It's the only white one they make, which is funny because it totally fits my brand.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically a small little camera. It's really lightweight, and so I love it. But it's a DSLR camera. The nice thing is you can change out the lenses and stuff. It's basically the similar comparison to like a Rebel camera, but it's
Right.
just smaller
Right. And
and way
cuter.
cuter because
Yeah,
it's
way
white.
cuter. Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but anyway, so yeah, I use that in the salon, and I actually do have a Canon 6D that I use at home, and then I'm actually just starting into vlogging, so we have a couple vlog cameras. So I have a lot of different things, different tools that I use, but that's my go-to one that I recommend for hairstylists starting out or starting to use a camera or getting into photography. The Canon SL1 is an amazing starter camera to check out. But
And you're into
yeah,
and
I love it.
you're into natural light too, right? Because a lot of people are using a ring flash now. So what is your opinion on ring flash versus natural light versus, in salon lighting? What are your feelings there?
Yeah, so I feel like lighting can be something that's really hard for people to figure out, and it all depends on your situation and your salon and your environment, all of that. So personally, for me, I have good natural light. I used to have a Phoenix salon studio, and it had amazing natural light. It had a beautiful like window that was on the side of me, and I don't have that anymore. So I had to kind of readjust my strategy and figure out what the lighting was going to be good for my new space. So basically, what I do is with my clients, I have them stand in front of my door, and I actually open up the door, and so the natural lighting just pours
Pours
in
in.
onto their hair, and that's gets such amazing photos for me. So natural lighting is what I recommend first and foremost. But if you don't have that, a ring light is a great option. To me personally, I don't love the ring light look. I actually use a softbox in my salon,
Okay.
but softboxes are much bigger and
Yes.
a lot more equipment. They're huge to store
Yeah.
or to even have in the salon. They look ridiculous. So a ring light is great if you're small on space and
That's
stuff like
what
that.
that's what I've
So,
noticed when I go in salons now, or a lot of the people I've had on as guests. That's really convenient for them, and it doesn't take a lot
right,
of skill. They shoot through the ring light. You've got balanced light. It's pretty easy.
right, right.
Okay,
So
great.
I love ring lights, and I think that they're so useful for me. I have other tools and things that I use.
Yeah.
Natural lighting is by far the best way to go, but sometimes you gotta improvise, or sometimes it's at night or whatever, and you do need to use a artificial light source. So I think a ring light is great.
So now, speaking of photography, what is your content focus as far as the pictures that you take? I'm sure that's important for your brand, right? So do you want to pick what you specialize in and then brand that? Is that how you feel?
Well, so I think with your Instagram, I think the most important thing, and we've seen it, social media has completely changed and evolved. Originally, when Instagram first started out and hairdressers were getting on Instagram, it was all about posting hair photos, only hair photos.
Right.
Don't show anything else. Don't show your life. Don't show photos of you. I only want to see hair photos. Well, now we've seen this shift where people actually do want to see a little bit more of who you are, and they
Yes.
want to see behind the scenes of things. So I think it's really important to show off photos of your salon, show off photos of yourself, maybe photos of you doing something fun. Now, the biggest thing you want to keep in mind is you want to make sure that it goes back to who you're talking to with your audience. So make sure that the photos do relate back to your audience and it's something that your audience would want to see, and make sure that it looks cohesive with the rest of your photos. So you wouldn't want to post like a beautiful hair photo and then next to it like a really crappy looking selfie or something like
Right.
that. So make sure that they relate back to each other. But I do think it's important to show off a little bit more variety within your hair or on your business page. So I love seeing salon shots or photos of you working or photos of maybe a little detail in your salon or something like that. Even a photo of you taking a photo of your client is really cool because it helps your audience see the behind the scenes of your Instagram page.
Gotcha.
And it's not just this like portfolio anymore. I think it's definitely changed. So yeah, and then you're really establishing your brand that way because you have something unique about it too.
Well, and another question, just recently in Instagram, you have the live button on top where you're, what's going on.
Your
As
Instagram stories.
Right,
Yeah.
as opposed to just the static photos. What is your opinion on that as far as using that properly?
I think it's amazing. I think everyone should be using Instagram stories. The biggest thing you do want to be thinking about is always going back to your audience and thinking about your audience first and foremost. So when you're filming an Instagram story, always be thinking, would my audience want to see this? Is this something that they're going to be interested in or entertained by or even care about seeing? So like for me, I don't post, 6 stories of my dogs because I know my audience probably doesn't care that much. But if I posted it every once in a while, that's not a big deal. Showing my weekend, they don't mind. But I'm not going to do 20 photos of my lunch from
Right.
Starbucks
Yeah.
or my kids or something like
Got you.
that.
Right,
So
exactly.
yeah,
So continuity is
but
really
I do think it's a
important.
great way to show off. Absolutely. And I think it's a great way to just show off a little bit of the behind the scenes of who you actually are, show off your personality. So I think it's a really great thing to utilize. Absolutely.
And then on the live story, obviously on Instagram, what is the response rate varying from, that putting up a live story as opposed to putting up a static video, like that's always there? Because those go away, obviously. Live story goes away.
Right.
So what's your opinion on that as opposed to a post? Do you
Right.
like to do both, or what do you generally like to do?
Oh yeah, you should definitely do both. Especially like for me, I definitely get more interaction and more like solid interaction from my Instagram posts because those live up on your page. They go a little bit longer.
Sure.
But Instagram stories are a great way to be a little bit less curated, a little bit kind of more, like I said, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that you can utilize both of them, and I think you absolutely should. But yeah, you're going to get more response usually, typically with a post than you would an Instagram story because still people are watching Instagram stories as much as they are scrolling through the feed.
Yes.
I think that'll change a little bit, but yeah, so I think utilize both. I think that they're both useful tools. They're just different. So you need to make sure that you're utilizing them both in different ways.
Got it. Yeah, because I noticed that
Yeah.
if you try to follow the Instagram stories, boy, whoa, that could take a lot of time just to follow your people because there's so many. Yeah, and then
Oh my gosh, yeah.
sometimes all you have time is to scroll through the the current pictures and then comment or whatever it might be. And that's another thing. What about commenting? What about responding? How important is that to Instagram?
I think it's so important. So I personally respond back to every single one of my comments. And I think the biggest thing is you don't want to respond to your comments in a block and just say like tag all the people and then
Right.
say thanks. I individually respond to my followers and to my audience. If they took the time to write a comment to me, then I want to make sure that I'm responding back to them and giving them the time back as well. So I always respond to my comments. I think that that really helps keep my audience engaged with me. And I do think that that helps build a stronger connection with my audience. And it actually makes them want to comment more because
Yeah.
they are seeing me comment back. They know I'm going to respond. So yeah, I think commenting back is so important. And then also social media is supposed to be about being social. So go comment on other people's things, go share a little bit of the love. And I definitely think that it will come back to you for sure.
Yeah, it makes you feel bad. Like if you always comment on theirs and they don't ever come back comment on you, it's like you don't want to
Right.
follow them anymore, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So there you go. All
Yeah.
right. Well, that's good. Good advice. Okay, what's the next picture we have here? Okay, now this is some work that you've done, really commercial look, something you would do on an everyday basis because,
Yeah.
like you say, you like to focus on the lightning and balayaging techniques. So talk about this one.
Yeah, so this is actually another hairstylist that I did her hair. She was getting married in a couple weeks, and so she was like, I just want somebody to like do my hair really nicely. And something that I specialize in with my photography and the way that I've kind of branded myself is I love doing like hair detail photos, which I'll show you guys in a second, but hair movement photos. I love having a little personality in my hair photos instead of just those like mugshot hair photos where
Yeah.
it's just like the front of them and the back. I think it's important to show off a little personality. So, yeah, so we did a balayage on her and brightened it up. And then I was like, okay, let's take some photos. Again, I had her stand in front of my door. I opened up the door, and you guys can just see the amazing natural light we got with that.
Yeah.
But I had her just shake her head back and forth, and you can tell that she actually loves her hair versus just that stagnant, smiling hair photo that looks awkward. It looks like she actually likes it. So,
Well,
yeah,
sometimes
I like doing stuff like that.
well, it's fun and it does give a variety and it shows off more of the personality. But the thing is, a lot of people are uncomfortable doing the shake because sometimes the hair just doesn't fall correctly, right? So, any advice there?
Right. Well, so it's funny with the hair shake photos, I actually take probably close to 50 to 100 of them
Okay.
because you're like snapping and you just hold down the button and you're snap, 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 snap. Majority of them are terrible. And then you maybe get the one that's amazing. So that
Gotcha.
one, it was like an amazing photo. And then the rest of them just look awkward. Like the hair's in front of her face or it's just like kind of
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to take a lot of photos in order to get that one photo, but that one photo is epic and it is really worth it. So it's all trial and error. Keep experimenting, keep practicing, and you'll eventually get one that's amazing for you.
Oh, we have a question here, believe it or not. And it is
Awesome.
not up here yet. There's nothing up here. But, oh, here it is. It just came up. Thanks. Okay, what do you think about the rumor of Instagram's new algorithm and hiding posts? Somebody asked that.
So the shadow ban is
Oh,
what
is that what it's
everyone's
called?
probably
Okay.
referring to. Yeah. So I actually take a different stance on this. Instagram came out with an algorithm last March. So people keep calling it the new algorithm. Nothing's changed. It came out like over a year ago.
Okay.
And I think the people that are really freaking out about it are the ones that haven't adapted or haven't figured out how to make it work for them. So that's why it's really important to stay on top of social media trends because things are constantly changing and evolving within social media, but then within our industry on top of that as well. So all that being said, as far as the whole shadow ban thing goes, I think it's a lot of hype. I do believe that Instagram is cracking down on accounts that are doing things that are spammy or things that are inauthentic, using things like bots, using things like automation, all of that. I do think that they are cracking down on that. However, the hype that's going around there with the whole shadow ban thing, I think is a little over crazy. There are some websites where you can like test your Instagram posts and it like you put in the link of your Instagram posts and it'll tell you if it's banned or not. Those are not true. They're hype. A lot of them, pretty much every post says it's banned. And I do think that it's a lot of hype against Instagram. All that being said, the shadow ban was really more so Instagram cracking down, like I said, on people doing automation, bots, all of that. So if you're not doing things that are spammy, if you're not doing things that are using automation, such as like there was a software called Instagress, and it was basically where it would automatically comment and like for you and automatically follow and unfollow people. If you're not using services like that, then you're going to be fine. So stay doing authentic things. Don't use automation. Don't unfollow people. Just stay really authentic and everything's going to be totally fine for you. But I think a lot of it's a big hype and I think that it's stressing people out, but it's really not a big deal.
Okay, well, good advice. That was a great question,
Yeah.
by the way. Let's see what the next
Yeah.
photo is, Stephen. Let's throw that up. Oh, here you go. So this is you on your phone talking
Yes.
about hashtags. Let's talk about it. Go ahead. School us.
Yeah, so this is actually, I have a free hashtag how-to guide book, and it's basically a printable workbook where you can write down all the different types of things about hashtags. I tell you how to research hashtags and all of that. So if you guys are curious about that, you just go to jamiedana.com/hashtag workbook. It's absolutely free. You just enter your email and we send it over to you. But it's something that I created about a year ago, and it was something that I wanted to give back to the industry because I feel like a lot of people struggle with hashtags. Which ones to use? How do I research? Which ones, what should I be doing with hashtags? So in the workbook, we talk about which ones you should be using, but I kind of walk you through which ones are going to be best for your audience. So I talk about make sure that if you are trying to build a local clientele, use local hashtags. So for me, ones that I use are OC hairstylist, Orange County
Gotcha.
hairstylist, OC salon, Orange County salon, OC hair. I mean, the list can go on and on. So make sure that you're using local hashtags. And then I also explain how to research hashtags and figure out exactly which hashtags are going to work the best for you and how to find different hashtags than you maybe wouldn't have thought of before instead of just using ones like hashtag hair.
Right.
For instance, when you use a hashtag like that, it's too broad of a hashtag. Basically, there's so many things being tagged underneath it that your work is going to get pushed down so quickly, so fast, that you don't want to be using a hashtag like hashtag hair.
Okay.
It's basically a waste of a hashtag.
Wow, that's great to know.
So you want to find, yeah, you want to find more niche hashtags. So ones like instead of hashtag hair, maybe hashtag hair painting or hair painted or something like that.
Sure.
And again, all of the hashtags that you use, you want to relate back to your post. So for the one that I had with the girl shaking her hair with the balayage, I would maybe hashtag brunette balayage instead of just balayage because balayage is a very big hashtag and there's
Yes.
so many things getting
Huge.
tagged underneath it so fast. So getting a little bit more niche with your hashtag, so brunette balayage or caramel balayage, something like that, that'll help be a little bit more smaller so that your work does show up and it doesn't get pushed down so quickly.
Ah, that's smart. See? That's something I needed to know. I like that. I love that. We have another question
Yeah.
here.
Well,
It says, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say download the hashtag workbook and then you'll have
Yeah.
tons of research to do.
There you go. Hashtag workbook. And where is that again?
It's on jamiedana.com/hashtag workbook.
You got it. Go there right now. Do it right now, right?
Yeah.
There you
Everybody
go.
do it. Go download it.
I know. You're going to break the internet right now. Just kidding.
There we go.
Okay.
Right?
Do you find that Instagram limits the amount of hashtags you can use?
Yes. So
Okay.
you can only use 30 hashtags
All right.
in every post. So yeah, 30 hashtags is the limit. And I always recommend using all 30 hashtags. You want to be seen in as many places as possible. So use 30 hashtags. And people worry that it's like spammy looking or it looks like you're desperate, but we're building a business here. So if you could put yourself in front of 30 audiences instead of just one, that's really important.
Makes
So
a
make
lot
sure
of
you're
sense.
always using 30 hashtags.
That is great advice. And we have another question. Do you offer personal social media coaching? Do you offer?
I actually do.
Okay.
I do. Yeah, I just started taking on coaching clients. So yeah, if you guys are interested about that, you can reach out to me through my Instagram, and yeah, we can definitely chat about that.
Chit chat. Good. That's great. You're really doing things, man. People say, well, you're a hairdresser. That's, you just do hair. No, not nowadays, right? There's so much more. And you're very entrepreneurial.
So much more.
There you go. All right, great. I love it. What's our next picture, Steven? Okay, now this is something that you did as a close-up type picture you wanted to show. Tell the folks about this one.
So again, I love hair details. This is something that, like I said, I specialize in with my Instagram. It's something that I feel like has kind of branded me a little bit differently from other hairstylists. But I love taking close-up photos. I love seeing the dimension in the hair. And these type of photos do get a lot of engagement for me because I think it's something different. Again, it's not that mugshot photo again. And I am starting to specialize in like blondes, but then a little bit of rose gold. So that's kind of something that I've been doing these last couple months. And it's kind of fun. A lot of my clients now they see photos like that and they're like, oh, can I add a little pink into my hair? Or can I add a little rose gold? I never thought of doing something like that, but I saw your photo on Instagram. And so now I'm able to kind of upcharge them a little bit on their service. Instead of them just getting highlights, now they're getting more things like balayage, hair painting, baby lights, and shadow roots. And now they're getting, even add-ons such as rose gold, pink, things like that. So it's a great way to increase your service, service charge and kind of increase your revenue at the same time because your clients are seeing your work and they're excited about it. They want to try something different. So I think that that's really a cool way to show that off on your Instagram.
That's great. Yeah, and I know there's a lot of trends happening right now. A lot of the toners are working now. The 5-minute, 10-minute toners. They're really easy to use. Some really nice colors. Reds seem like red heads. I see that starting to happen a little bit now. So, how trends are. They always recycle, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, and then this is a question. Since you talked about it, they said, "What is your favorite rose gold formulation right now?" Since you mentioned it.
Ooh, so I've got a good one. So my favorite one right now at the moment is I use Joico. They have their metallic line. It's basically part of their intensities line. So Joico Metallics, it's equal parts of bronze, mauve quartz, and then a little bit of pulbrite Cupid, a couple drops of that in there, and then I dilute it down with conditioner. And I custom mix it for each client. So I just kind of test it out on like a paper towel to
Sure.
see like what, and obviously I take into consideration their underlying pigments and all of that. I usually lift them to like a level 9, but sometimes a level 8 will work because it'll have that little bit of like the warm tones
Yeah.
underneath there. So yeah, but I love the Joico Metallics line. It gives that smoky rose gold look
Nice.
without it being too bright pink. So
Oh,
yeah,
I
that's my
love it.
favorite rose gold toner
I
right
love
now.
it. That's good. Thanks for the advice. What do we have next, Stephen? What's our next picture? Oh, okay. So this is you working, right? At home. Is that correct?
This is me working. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the other, like I said, obviously a huge part of what I do is not only working in the salon, but also inspiring and teaching other hairstylists how to grow their business. So I actually do have an online course. I think I mentioned that a little bit
Yes.
earlier, but I have an online course that teaches hairstylists how to use Instagram to grow their business. And we only launch it a couple times a year. So right now the doors are closed, but we do launch it every once in a while. And that's really fun because it allows people to kind of learn about social media without having to travel to a salon or travel somewhere really far away and pay for all those travel expenses. They can do it right from their computer at home. So that makes me excited. I think that online education is where it's going. And like I said, things like this are really cool too, because you're able to reach a ton of hairstylists and,
Yes.
maybe people that live in somewhere that's a smaller community or whatever. So
Yeah.
that's something I'm really passionate about, is really creating a community and being able to do that through social media. So
Well, we
yeah.
really appreciate the fact that you've come on here. I mean, this is things that people need to know. Things are changing. It's not all about pin curls and roller sets anymore, is it?
Not so much.
Not so much. No. Hey, there's still occasionally we do that, but like I say, you have to just take this as a profession. I mean, you wouldn't go to a cosmetic surgeon that hadn't had an updated class on breast augmentation in the last 20 years, would you? You don't want the hairdressers. A lot of
No.
hairdressers don't put any effort into their education or their business, and that's why the hairdresser power thing to me is so big, because education is power, and education, not necessarily learning how to do a runway show, because that's very seldom that happens. And I think that's turned a lot of people off, where they have an educational event and they learn things that they can never use. And I think in social media the same way, people get way off the track. Like a guy that is not a hairstylist teaching the class, a person that's not in the industry teaching the class. So that's where I think where you come in, you're a practical application. You're not wasting their time, and you give them information that they need. So how do you feel about that?
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's been cool seeing the whole independent education thing kind of take off versus people working for brands
Oh,
and
yeah.
all of that. And I think back in the day when it was so much brand education and that was really all that was out there, it was serving the purpose of the brand, right? So they're trying to sell you the product or selling you the tool or whatever it was
Yep.
that their agenda.
I know.
And now with independent education, it's so cool to be able to use 20 different brands or say these are my favorite things
Yeah.
and kind of hand picking each
Yeah.
one, and because every brand has something amazing, and not every brand is good at everything. So I think with independent education they've gotten away from that whole brand mentality and really being able to teach the hairstylists things that they can use in the salon and take home that they can use right away on their clients every day, and not feel like, oh, I just learned how to do a shaved side with green tips. Like, no one's going to want that as
No.
much. So yeah, I mean, maybe there might be some clients that want that.
Well, it's
but,
fun.
It's definitely been cool.
Yeah, it's
Right.
well, here's the thing. Sometimes people are taking photos and putting stuff that's fun and interesting. It's like a train wreck. You don't really want to watch it, but you have to, because I got to see what's going on here. Now, how many clients
Right.
are going to use that? Well, probably you're going to be doing balayage, covering gray, doing haircuts, right? But
Right.
that's every day. Everybody can do that. It's not exciting. So sometimes people do the shock factor. And I've noticed.
Absolutely. And
Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, I follow people like, for instance, Shelly Gregory. If you guys don't already follow her, go check her out. She's amazing. But she does these amazing pastel looks. And so with her Instagram, her goal isn't to build a clientele,
No.
because her clients aren't really getting that. They last 2 weeks.
Right.
But she's really trying to establish herself as an industry leader, somebody in the industry who's an amazing colorist. And she has done that. She actually works with L'Oreal and has gotten amazing opportunities to work with them just through her Instagram,
Right.
which I think is really powerful and really cool. But it's because she's kind of tailored that. But she realized what her goal was from the very beginning. It wasn't to grow a clientele. So she's not going to be posting things like a balayage or whatever. So her goals are just different. So I think knowing your goals and knowing what your end game is and kind of having a idea of where you're going is really, really important with their social media, because it could be different for every single person. So watching what she does or watching what I do is going to be a little bit different than maybe what you're doing for
Absolutely.
yourself and your audience.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. Well, there's trends that come around. I mean, a few years back it was, and I always mention this, was hair feathers, and you couldn't even buy feathers. It was so big, remember? Yeah.
I remember that. Yes.
Right. And then, for a little while
Yep.
we had the vibrant colors going on, the direct dyes going on. Then now they're coming back with pastels, kind of the more the unicorn look. So it's constantly changing. The thing is that when you look at the base of your clientele where you really make your money though, sometimes you need to focus on education that is practical. And I think that's what I like about what you're preaching. When they go to you, they're going to learn about practical use of Instagram. Not some pie in the sky, very technical situation, correct?
Right. Well, or I think a lot of times we get so sidetracked of like, well, I want to have 50,000 followers or 20,000 Instagram followers. But really, maybe your goal is to grow your clientele. And so if that's your ultimate goal is to grow your clientele and grow your name in your local area, you don't need 20,000 followers to do that. You need maybe 500 followers who are your clients and going to start going to you and booking appointments with you. That's what you need, a really solid, engaged clientele-based following versus a huge following that's built up of hairdressers and maybe random people from Russia. You don't need that. So I think it's really important to remember what your goals are for you and not necessarily looking what everybody else is doing, because like I said, their goals could be completely different than what your goals are, and so it's really, really, really important to stay with that too.
Well, and the other thing is people don't realize that mostly hairdressers have a 10-mile radius, 15-mile radius, maybe 20-mile radius that they're pulling their clientele from. If you have, and by the way, if you have 50 or 100,000 followers and you want to maintain them, that's a lot of time for you. That's a lot of work.
Absolutely.
So you gotta look at what you're trying to do, right? You're very right. That was great advice. I love that. People need to check you out, you guys. So where do we go again? One more time for the people in the audience. Where do you go to check you out?
So check me out. I mean, my biggest platform is Instagram. I'm on there pretty much every day. I share things on Instagram stories. I do Instagram live here and there, but my Instagram is Jamie Dana Hairstylist. You can also check me out on Facebook. I do Facebook lives over there as well. Again, Jamie Dana Hairstylist. If you want to find out more about my online courses, coaching, anything like that, go to just jamiedana.com. Pretty much if you look up Jamie Dana, you'll be able to find me. And I recently just started a YouTube channel. It's Jamie Dana. So anywhere you find me, just type in Jamie Dana. I should come up. And I would love to have you guys follow along and follow this journey that we're on. I think it's so fun.
I agree. And thank you so much for being here. And guys, if you want to check out this show or any of our other Hairdresser Power shows, just go to hairdresserpower.com or go to Hairdresser Power on YouTube. It's all archived there. Subscribe so that when somebody like Jamie comes on, we send it directly to your phone. You can watch it at your leisure, right? Doesn't need to be live. You just want the information, right? And thanks so much for being here. And hey, you're amazing. I mean, we're going to have to probably have you come down one day and have another class, because I love what you're saying. It is fantastic. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I think things like this are so incredible for our industry, and it's just everybody's growing together. And I think that that's really, really cool. And that community over competition and just helping everybody grow their businesses together, which is something that I'm all about. So thank you guys for even putting this out there, and thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, everybody, we'll see you next time.